Very excited to be joined by Mark Foster of Foster the People this morning on CD 102.5, getting ready to put out a new record. Mark, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's been a few years since Torches, and now Supermodel getting ready to come out. Now, Torches was huge for you guys, obviously. Big splashy debut, and you're on the Grammys, and you're all over the world and everything. And I've seen you talk a little bit about the idea of a sophomore slump, because that seems to be something that affects some artists when they get ready for that second record. But you guys seem like you're ready to come out of the gate strong here on record number 2.
I think I was afraid of the sophomore slump before our first record came out. And it was like one of those weird kind of intangible things that I watched happen to some of my favorite artists, and I always scratch my head saying, like, what? Like, why? Why does that happen? And after this second record, I realized why it can happen, and that's because, you have your you have your whole life to write your first record, and about 9 months to write your second. And I think that there's the funny thing for me going into this record was just knowing that people were going to hear these songs. Because with Torches, I wrote a lot of those songs without even thinking about people hearing them on that scale.
Yeah.
I kind of wrote them for my friends and like my immediate circle. And so there was a freedom in that, it was liberating to write songs like that, and this was a different vibe writing for this record. So, but what I did was I just tried to just kind of get back into that headspace, the headspace that I was in with Torches, and just kind of kept all of those thoughts out of the room.
I can see, I can see where you would. I could completely see that idea coming together, because if you write the songs for the first record, like you say, you're thinking your friends are going to hear it, family, that kind of thing, and now you're out and you're playing in front of tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people by the time a tour is done. Those people are ready to hear what's next, so they're going to be listening to it and judging what you do.
Right, totally. There's expectations, but for me, I think I just tried to keep out the voices of our fans and the voices of the critics, just kind of keep it outside of the studio, and to try to write these songs from an authentic place.
Well, you guys have teased us a little bit with a couple of tracks that we've already had a chance to listen to from Supermodel. Give us an idea of. I don't like to say, tell us what the record's about. That seems, but whatever. But give us an idea of maybe kind of compare the two records. Kind of compare Torches for us to Supermodel. Give us an idea of some of the changes. Maybe I saw there's more of a world music type vibe. Give us an idea about that.
Yeah, well, aesthetically, we wanted to make a more organic record, to where if we were going to use electronics, we would use them in an analog way, and we wanted this record to really sound like five guys playing in a room together, which is a big difference from Torches. I feel like Torches was a record kind of that was inspired by and revolved around escapism. That you could kind of put that record on no matter what mood you were in, and it was kind of like a balloon. You could just grab onto the string, and it would just kind of pull you out of whatever situation you were in. And I feel like Supermodel is more confrontational. I think, for me, when I think about this record, it's almost like with Torches, there was like a monster in the closet that I kind of, I would want to run from, but on this record, it's about flipping on the light and realizing that nothing's really there. So it's a little bit more confrontative.
Mark Foster of Foster the People with us this morning on CD 102.5. One quote that I saw you said, it said that you described the lyrics for the songs as kind of dealing with the quote is the ugly side of capitalism. Is that something you think about before you sit down, or you kind of start writing and then you go in your head, you're like, what these are really about? Is it really kind of deals with this theme, or do you sit down with a big broad theme in the very beginning?
I guess that it's it can be both. For this record, I'd been traveling. I'd been outside of the country for about 3.5 months before I went into the studio to start writing for this record, and I went on a trip that was really life-changing. and a lot of it was spent through the Middle East. It started in India and ended in Morocco, and I think for me, being in that part of the world really opened up my eyes to some things in L.A. that I didn't have a good perspective on before. And so I think kind of going into the record, I think materialism and approaching the idea of beauty, kind of redefining beauty, how different, it's very, what we prioritize and what we put on a pedestal here in the United States is very different from what somebody in India thinks is beautiful. And I think one of the starkest differences for me being over there was just their sense of community, that they're all about the greater community as opposed to the individual. And I think just seeing some of those big differences, it was really interesting for me philosophically to write about going into this record. So a lot of the concepts I kind of went in with, and then after listening to it for the first time, there were definitely subconscious themes that I kind of recognized later that I hadn't even really intended.
Let me ask you a question. I know you grew up in Cleveland, so now at this point, are you a Californian or are you still a Buckeye?
Man, yeah, I'm still a Buckeye.
Okay.
I'm still a Buckeye. I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you right now.
Right.
My dad still lives in Cleveland, and I think I was born in Northern California, so I've always been split.
Okay. Okay.
But I spent my childhood in Cleveland, so yeah. When it comes to sports and stuff, my heart's still there.
How do you think the Indians will do this year?
Man, I haven't followed the Indians in a long time, man. I'm waiting for the Browns. I'm waiting for the Browns to pull it together. I'm waiting for the Browns.
Man, you're going to be an old man by the time that happens.
I hope you're wrong.
All right. Well, the new record from Foster the People is called Supermodel, and March. What I lost the date on it real quick. March 18th? No.
Yeah, March 18th.
March 18th. That's right. March 18th release date on that. Mark, thank you so much for taking time. We appreciate it, man.